Welcome to the Utah Stories Top 5, where we scour all of the top headlines of the day and sift through all the spin and clutter to present to you the most important and pressing headlines, saving you countless hours. I am your host for today, Matthew Pine. Our top 5 for today: how the Utah Legislature handled the Great Salt Lake in 2024. 2, Utah wants the Supreme Court to limit abortion pill access. Number 3, Eagle Mountain residents are still digging themselves out of tumbleweeds. Number 4, Utah advocates want Governor Cox to veto bill meant to arm more teachers. And number 5, raw milk controversy affects local Utah farmers. But before we get into our headlines, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. And today's episode is brought to you by Utah Stories Magazine. Did you know that for just $3 a month, you can have Utah Stories print magazine delivered right to your door? Utah Stories has been in print for nearly 20 years, and the reason people still love to read on paper is that it is a very unique and fun, tangible way to experience the world around you. Screens might be taking over our consciousness, but print media will never die. Why? Because print media offers a way to connect in a real-world manner, and let's not undermine our real-world communities believing that some online communities should replace them. Utah Stories is your connection to the real world. All right, let's dive into our first headline and story. How the Utah Legislature handled the Great Salt Lake in 2024. A few bills address the Great Salt Lake in this legislative session. One of the bills that passed and is awaiting Governor Cox's approval is a law essentially tightens the regulations on mineral extraction from the lake so the industry's water consumption is better managed. It also guarantees that revenue generated by mineral sales will be allocated back to the lake for conservation and management efforts, according to lawmakers. Over the past few years, the state, local government, private sector, and everyday citizens have done their part to ensure that the Great Salt Lake is around for future generations, Snyder said in a statement on Thursday. The bill is another huge step in the right direction as we work to keep the water in the lake. Comment down below what you think about keeping the Great Salt Lake around for future generations. Moving on, Utah wants the U.S. Supreme Court to limit abortion pill access. Anti-abortion groups, attorneys general from 25 states and more than 140 members of Congress have signed on to dozens of briefs to the U.S. Supreme Court during the past 2 weeks, encouraging the justices to revert use and prescribing of the medication abortion pill mifepristone to what was in place prior to 2016, according to the Daily Herald. Utah is one of the states that supports these briefs moving through the court. What do you think about this issue? Comment down below. Moving on, Eagle Mountain residents are still digging themselves out of tumbleweeds. On Saturday, thousands of tumbleweeds blew into Eagle Mountain's neighborhoods, rolling into yards and blocking streets along the city's eastern edge, according to KSL. If a home is buried in tumbleweeds 6 feet deep, and there are thousands of them, that's where a city really wants to be of help, says Tyler Maffett, communications manager for Eagle Mountain. If you have just a few tumbleweeds on your property, you're going to be responsible. So ask your neighbors, ask your family, ask your friends to help you out, Maffett said. In some of the hardest hit neighborhoods, city workers were seen using backhoes to help residents flatten the tumbleweeds once they were in dumpsters. Number 4, Utah advocates want Governor Cox to veto bill meant to arm more teachers. Community members gathered at the Capitol early on Monday to urge Governor Cox to veto a bill meant to arm more teachers, a measure that legislature passed last week that would incentivize more teachers to carry guns, in part by providing participating educators with near-blanket liability protection should they open fire on school grounds, according to the Tribune. One of the protesters, Sanaya Miley, lost 2 teens the 23-year-old called her brothers to gun violence 2 years ago in a West Valley City shooting near Hunter High School. In the same legislative session, our lawmakers did not trust universities to hire diverse, competent staff, Maley argued Monday. Now they want us to trust teachers with a gun. And finally, raw milk controversy affects local Utah farms. For weeks at Utah Natural Meat, raw milk gushed into the dirt. Normally, the raw, unpasteurized milk from the last dairy farm in Salt Lake County would be bottled and sold to customers so eager to buy it that they line up an hour before the store opened. Customers continue to ask for it, owner Shane Bowler said. But he had to tell them no. His state permit was to sell raw milk, and it had been suspended. 3 weeks passed until mid-October when the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food notified Bowler that they found Campylobacter in his milk. The bacterium had sickened 12 people, one of whom was hospitalized, according to the Salt Lake County Health Department. Obviously, said Bowler, a fifth-generation farmer, if there is something unsafe about it, we want to address that immediately. But working with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, Bowler said, was a cumbersome process that nearly put him out of business. Some of his customers, who tout raw milk's nutritional benefits, were so frustrated by what they said was the department's lack of transparency that they complained to their state representative, State Rep Cheryl Acton of Salt Lake County. Acton now plans to introduce legislation that would make the permit suspension process clearer for not only farmers, but the public as well. And our question of the day: why are fake glasses trending? One article on Specs Cart talks about all your favorite celebrities wearing fake glasses. As you can tell from TikTok, fake glasses are trending. The benefit of fake glasses are blue light protection, UV protection, and then it just comes down to style. I wear some myself, and then my colleague wears these very fashionable blue light glasses as well. I recommend them if you're staring at screens most of your day. And the adventure of the day, Donut Falls. Donut Falls, which I believe we can share on the screen right now. You can see its beauty and majesty as we get into spring and summer. It's a nice little getaway if you're looking to get out of the city and get more in touch with nature. And finally, I want to discuss our Shades event on Friday, March 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. Just wanted to reiterate that. We talk about it every day on the top 5, but it is coming up just 10 days away. We do have an Eventbrite set up for it, and we'll link it in the YouTube description below. Make sure you sign up for that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, if you like this content and you want to engage to a greater degree with your local community, go out and subscribe to either Utah Stories print magazine or our free digital newsletter. From utahstories.com, you can subscribe to our newsletter that offers all of the stories that we are covering in-house. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.